If you could invite 3 famous goalkeepers to a dinner party, who would they be?
Wow, yeah, good question. That is a great question.
I find that really interesting to talk about,
How do you deal with the mental struggles of being a goalkeeper?
Do you think like the goalkeeper might need to be as good as an outfield player and then just have gloves on?
I think they're pretty close already.
How do you see the differences in being in an academy early on or fight your way through in lower down in the leagues?
There's so many players now and so many very good academies that they bring through some great players. You see it.
To be a professional in an environment where there's so much exposure and you have these cameras,
They're realistic. Everyone's realistic at the football club.
Have you had any big injuries?
Going through my career, I've had, I would say, 3 serious injuries.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode. Before we jump in, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor Glove Glue. They are the OGs of grip sprays and glove care products. Goalkeeper gloves are expensive but fragile, and Glove Glue knows how to keep them in top shape. You can get 20% off by going to gloveglue.com/GOA and using the code TGC20. TGC20. Check them out. Now, let's get started. I'm like a one-man show as well, so I don't.
Yeah, I know. Do you do all the editing as well?
I do everything.
How do you find the time?
Sometimes like my days off are huge, and then sometimes like I find an hour in the morning or whatever, 1.5 hours before the kids wake up and stuff, just to do some work. But I think I have had a couple of editors, but sometimes they don't deliver at time, and sometimes they are available, sometimes they are not available. So yeah, you know how it is. So,
and they cost.
And they cost as well, especially if you want to have anyone like local or even just like European editors. It's not as easy to find good ones, at a decent price. So yeah, but it's a lot of fun though. I don't know if you probably have the same feeling that it's a lot fun to have something besides football to do.
Yeah, 100%. I love it now. So I started doing my podcast because I started doing my degree in journalism and broadcasting. And then from that, they was like, "Oh, do a project." And I was like, "Well, I know what I want to do. Yeah. Like, I want to be like a goalkeeper specialist in the UK, and I want to start doing more YouTube stuff. But I want to start off with a podcast and like practice hosting and showing that I can interview well."
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you think it's just to press record and then to just have a talk, but it's not just that. Like if you have a guest on, you want to do some research. You want to find some questions that's maybe not been asked 1,000 times before, so that you can have like a good chat. And
what are you like with the research handlers? Because I obviously do all the Wikipedia and their search, all their stats and that, but I also like to have like watched their last game and stuff like that, because if they mention something that happened and then I pretend that I know it, I feel like I'm stupid. So I have to like know that, watch like their clips and their highlights from one season. I'm like mad with it.
I see. I have to like. I'm not good at that. I'm more in terms of how their journey has been. In terms of a little bit about clubs, where have them? They might be playing a lot. Have they like been part of promotions? Have they had any really tough hardships during their career? Because I find that really interesting to talk about. The mental aspects in goalkeeping, which is like it's a huge part, and it's also been what I get the most questions about in my social media channels. I don't know if you feel the same.
Exactly the same. It's you get asked 2 questions. How can I improve? Which is the loosest question you can ever ask.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with the mental struggles of being a goalkeeper? It's the 2 main questions, always.
Yeah, all the time. And it's hard to give like a concrete question to this is exactly what you should do, because getting confidence and self-belief, it takes time and it needs working on a daily basis. And it can fluctuate as well. Sometimes you feel like $1 million, and then there's game, and then there's games where you just try to survive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just get through it.
Yeah. So I've tried to find like a question that I don't think you've had before, just like an icebreaker. And I used ChatGPT. I used ChatGPT for this actually.
Good.
And it was really good. So I modified it a little bit, but so like the icebreaker question is, if you could invite 3 famous goalkeepers, past or present, to a dinner party, who would they be, and what conversation topics do you think would dominate the evening?
Wow, yeah, good question. That is a great question. ChatGPT did that, yeah? And you obviously modified it.
Yeah, parts of it ChatGPT done it.
Obviously, the conversation would be goalkeeping majority. I think a lot of it would then be swayed a little bit towards other sports, I reckon, like golf and fishing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, or food. I can imagine all us goalkeepers love food, don't we?
Yeah.
So I reckon that would be a heavy part of the convo. Guest-wise, I might throw some out there ones. I'm going to go Buffon. I think I could sit next to Buffon and drink red wine quite comfortably and be at peace.
Yeah.
I'd love to pick the brains of Edwin van der Sar, just because he's my favourite ever goalkeeper. Just the way that he played the game and every attribute that he had is something that I always still try to mimic and look up to. And the other one, I've got to go Dave Seaman, really. I have to go David Seaman, just because he'll make everyone laugh. And I think he'll lead it to fishing in golf, the conversation. But yeah, he's the biggest, friendliest giant in the world. I would have liked to have chucked in a random one for me, really. It was like an Oliver Kahn or a Manuel Neuer. But yeah, I think I've got to go with the goalkeepers I looked up to the most.
That's crazy, because you have 2 out of 3 is what I would have as well. I would have probably Oliver Kahn and
nice
Buffon and Iker Casillas. So
Casillas as well. See, I'm forgetting Casillas as well.
On the top of your head, it's not easy. There's so many big legends.
Yeah, there's so many. Obviously, like our age group that we looked up to, and goalkeeping seemed different, didn't they? They seemed like big men that had personalities, and now goalkeepers are getting smaller, but with like quicker reflexes and faster across their goal, where goalkeepers used to be giants.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the skills may be needed like in today's game and in the modern game going forward. I think there will be some different traits that the goalkeeper need, I guess. And what do you think? Maybe like looking down into the future, and in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, do you think like the goalkeeper might need to be as good as an outfield player and then just have gloves on?
I think they're pretty close already. I think there's some of the goalkeepers now playing out from the back are pretty close to saying they could do a job for somebody, which is amazing to see how much goalkeeping's developed. I don't know how far that will end up going. You look at like Man United now and Onana, the defenders don't pass out. They just play it back to him and he kind of dribbles up the pitch. And that's something that no one's really done before. But because of his passing range and his attributes, it suits him. Other clubs are trying similar methods, but going through the years, like goalkeeping does change constantly. We used to be big shot stoppers that blocked the ball or came for crosses. And then you had like the Manuel Neuers and the Van der Sars, and they would then read the game unbelievably and play really high up their line. And obviously now it's gone back to like, let's pass out from the back and attractive football. So I think everyone will continue along this sort of journey of how football's getting played. But I think there's still another element for goalkeepers to learn. There'll be something in 5-10 years' time that is another string to our bow.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing is being like skilled with the ball at your feet, but attracting pressure and then to be calm enough in your mind to play the pass in the right time as well, because you obviously want the opposing team to jump so that you can then some place on the pitch you are outnumber the opposing team. So also, mentally to be as calm and strong as, Onana and these guys are, it's pretty remarkable to see when they play.
Yeah, exactly. But that suits a lot of managers and a lot of playing styles now, to play that counter-attacking, to beat the press. So, but there will still be teams worldwide that still play long ball football, and the goalkeeper still kicks it a mile. And so there's going to be a really strange mix of like one or the other almost.
Yeah. That's also like a big question for many goalkeepers and younger goalkeepers. When they are coming up in the game, then they might be a part of a team that they might not get a chance in that team because it maybe don't suit their way of being a goalkeeper. But I guess if you're patient, there will always be like a club that maybe need your traits and the way you play goalkeeper. How have you found that? You've been to different clubs throughout your career, and how have you found that being?
So you look at me now, obviously I'm an aging goalkeeper, but so throughout my career, when I came through the academy, I was a footballing goalkeeper. I would play out from the back. I would train as an outfielder 2 nights a week, train as a goalkeeper 2 nights a week. So I grew up at Arsenal Academy playing out from the back and passing the ball out and being comfortable on the ball. But as soon as you play in the first team on loan and they have to win a game or there's more pressure, you kick the ball, and you kick the ball more and more and you go further and further. And I learned that when I went up to Scotland on loan, that they wanted the ball as far away from your own goal. They want to score goals down that end and not concede. So if the ball's in that end, you've got more chance of scoring goals. So I developed a really long kick. But then you get typecast as a goalkeeper for kicking it long. But people forget that you can still play football. So throughout my whole career, it's more surprising for people that I can play out from the back, because everyone's always watched me kick the ball long.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So it's a hard one. When whatever the manager tells you to do or how to play is how a goalkeeper plays. We don't get to have as much identity in your own performance. We all keep goals slightly differently. But if the manager tells you kick it long, you kick it long.
Yeah, because ultimately you have to do what he says to be able to get game time. So yeah, I can see that for sure. And it's like it can be easy to get like labeled as a goalkeeper as well. Often if you in terms of having like the label as maybe like, oh, he's always been the number one or always been the number two, because I think if you get labeled as a number two from pretty early on in your career, it's hard to get rid of that, because when you're chasing maybe a new club or game time, those coaches or clubs see you as a number two and bring you in as a number two as well.
Yeah. And that's what's hard, is that they then expect you to drop down a level or 2 levels to play every week. But you are deserving of still playing at the top level, at that level as a number one, but you're just competing with another goalkeeper at that time. And like you said, the stigma of being a number 2 goalkeeper, especially in the UK, is quite derogatory. It's almost like, oh, you don't want to play. But the number 2 goalkeepers, they want to play. They just have to wait for an opportunity, which sometimes is injury, illness, and loss of form. So you just have to be patient.
Yeah, for sure. Patience. And also, and how do you see it like in England? I guess like academy football is pretty huge. Like in Norway, Scandinavia, it's becoming there, that the kids are being picked at an earlier age. But how do you see like the differences in being in an academy early on, or fight your way through in maybe a bit lower down in the leagues and chasing game time and maybe playing men's or women's football at an early age? Pros and cons.
It's a great question. It's a great question, because in England there's a lot of academies now. So if you normally do come through an academy system and you work your way through a team until you get to a professional contract, and then there's a big decision. But there isn't many players now that are part-time or non-league that work their way through. It's such a huge jump in momentum. You have to do well really young and fight your way almost to get that contract or get a move from non-league, where the lads that come through an academy, because of the loan structure in England is so strong now, that you end up finding a lot more players will come through the academy system and get out on loan earlier. And then it's up to them to then prove themselves at each loan move and find their level of football. And ultimately, you're always aiming to reach the top. But it's not always the case. Sometimes you find that you go out on loan to a League One, League Two, and it fits. You play well in that league, and you make the jump again the year after, and it just doesn't work out. And you think, well, I can make an unbelievably good career and play a lot of games at that level. Let's just master my craft, and hopefully I improve and get better, and then ultimately get to the point that you can. Mm-hmm. But yeah, coming through the academies in England is massive. There's so many players now and so many very good academies that they bring through some great players. You see it. Some clubs do it better than others, especially for goalkeepers. Even like at the highest level, some of the Premier League teams still can't produce a homegrown goalkeeper.
So at this moment in time, it's important for maybe young kids to be picked by an academy to have the best chance of having a professional career?
Yes, I would say so now, because you're learning so much along the way, especially in England, that the academies now start at like under 8s, under 9s, under 10s, and they work all the way through to, and kids are getting picked up at these early ages. And I don't think it's more that it's like a Sunday league, but you get more better coaching on better facilities and you play against better opposition. So naturally your progression will be quicker than other players.
Okay, so they're as early as that they're picking the best ones.
Yes, literally.
Wow.
And it's ruthless as well, but it's also very rewarding if you can do well in it.
Well, that's like such a big difference from here in Scandinavia. As, of course, we are not as many people to pick from, so we have to maintain the sort of structure that you keep as many as long as possible within the game, because you don't quite know, like at the age of 10, who is going to make it, and because those who are good at 10 might not be good at 15, 16. So we try to keep them in the game as long as possible, because we can't be, as selective with the talent that we have.
Yes, that makes sense, though. Obviously, we've got a lot more players to pick from, and the academies here, it's a big production wheel. If one goes out, another one comes in. There's a massive scouting system, and obviously the clubs are ultimately looking for the best players that they can get all the time. There isn't a lot of loyalty now in football, especially over here.
Oh, crazy. So then you have to be really strong if you're a young boy or girl then to make it in football. If you see at an early time that you're not picked by an academy, I think it's very easy to get disheartened and not maybe wanting to pursue it anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. But again, I was going to say then about the way that the academies are now, though, is so well structured that they will allow for obviously growth spurts and loss of form. And obviously they base a lot of these sort of big decisions. They'll be looking at every aspect of how much they've progressed and the potential pathway, but they will look at the height of the parents and try and work out if that kid's going to grow to a certain height, especially for goalkeepers. And I know in England that the academies now, they will look at the height of both parents, not just the dad or not just a mum. They will look at both and try and calculate and guess what is estimated height.
Okay. I know that Schalke also wanted to do that with Neuer when he was younger. But his because he was small at a young age. And then his parents told them, no, you're not allowed, because they were afraid that if he was told by the doctors that he will not be as tall as they want him to be, that it will kill his passion for the game. So
No way.
Yeah, so they are very, very happy that they did not do it. And then, of course, he started to grow, and he became the goalkeeper we all know today. So sometimes it's a small coincidences, huh?
Yeah, exactly that. And not everyone makes sense. I mean, my dad's 5'11". My mum is 5'2". I'm 6'3". So the tallest person in my family before was my granddad, who was 6 foot. So where have I gained 3 extra inches in height? Sometimes it doesn't actually make sense. It's just down to a bit of luck and obviously your physicality.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same in my family as well. My dad is not tall. My mom is not tall, but my mom's dad and her brother and stuff, huge guys they were. So they probably jumped one over and then gave it some extra inches for me. So
yeah, nice.
I just barely got tall enough. So it's good. Anyways, congratulations on back-to-back promotions.
Thank you.
How does it feel? And I want to know, how is it, when you have so much, of course, there's been hardships as well, but how does it feel around Wrexham? How is the vibe, from getting back-to-back promotions and support that the supporters give Wrexham? I see, it's crazy how much interest there are in the club. So tell me, how is it to be, a part of something like this?
Yeah, first and foremost, the back-to-back promotions is incredible. I know that when we got promoted out of the National League, we were all desperate as players to try and make it happen, but it's never that easy. And like you said, there's been hardships in that, and we've had some bad run of form. But yeah, for us to get over the line was incredible. It's a huge achievement in any leagues in any country around the world to be able to do it. So we're deeply proud of ourselves that we managed that. But again, like you said, we wouldn't be able to do that without the support of the club and the fan base, because they are incredible. I think everybody's bought into the Wrexham story around the world, but the actual hardcore fans that turn up to our games every week and support us, it means the world to us as players, because without them, it wouldn't be as good of a journey if we didn't have that fan base, because it would have looked like some clubs have bought their way without the fan base. But our fan base is massive and it's growing constantly. So we embrace them and they embrace us really well. And I think that through the documentary and the TV show, it's shown that we have personalities as well as footballers, and we are real people with real lives going on. And I think that that's helped our fans relate to us more. I can speak about that personally. Is like the way that the fans are with me now compared to like my first 2 or 3 months at the club is so different. I've got a really great rapport with our fans, and hopefully they feel the same with me, is that we've got a real affection for each other. But yeah, with the club worldwide is just gone mental, and it's like mental. We like to call ourselves everybody's second favourite team now. So whoever you support in the world, whatever sport, the second team that you want to look at is Wrexham now. And there's a big pressure on that, but it's also very exciting.
Yeah, how is the pressure from that? Because, I just by coincidence, a couple of years ago, I got, introduced to Welcome to Wrexham through the Disney channel on my television, and then I started watching that, and then I remember how many followers you had on Instagram at that time, and then now it's just like this. So how is it because within all of this, still there's a profession that needs to be done really well. To have the interest you have is one thing, but if you can do that together with good performances on the pitch, then it becomes really really powerful. So how is it to be a professional in an environment where there's so much exposure and you have these cameras, following you 24/7? Is it like if you were to play a game, is it in your mind, or do you manage to store it away?
You managed to store it away somehow. But again, the staff at the club and even all the way up to the top to the owners, they're realistic. Everyone's realistic at the football club, and even in the dressing room, we know what to expect off of each other. And that's the most important thing, is we want to win games. That's our job. That's why we are footballers at that club, to help them do well and win games. And ultimately, it's going to be on a TV show, whether you like it or not, whether it's good or bad. It's going to make the documentary. So we just have to make sure that we do our job to the best of our ability. And with the manager's brilliant at stuff like that. He gets together a great team of personalities that help other people adjust as well. So new signings, they know what to expect, and a few of the older pros, a few of the staff members. We all talk about these sort of things, but it's about, like you said, keeping it real, sticking to reality, and making sure that we focus on playing football to the best that we can. The documentary sort of stuff, the camera crew is fun. They're great people actually behind the scenes. So you have a great relationship with them when the cameras are not rolling. We're very comfortable with them as people, which makes it a lot easier, because you're not worried that they're there or that they're listening or filming stuff that they shouldn't, because we've got their trust and they have ours. And that's crucial to making it work behind the scenes.
Nice. And also with the owners, Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, I guess you probably had this question a bunch of times, but like, how invested are they, and how are they as how are they as owners? Because you have owners that you never see and they never mentioned, and then you have maybe the opposite in those two.
Oh yeah, exactly. They are the opposite. They go against every rule of any management and owners. They speak to us loads. They are the most humanized people I think I've ever met. They want you to do better on and off the pitch. They are interested in your family, your own life, and your football ability. So for them to have that mix, it makes you want to do well for them anyway. So it makes them a lot more approachable. And obviously, I think they've said it before that they find us the superstars, which is just mental.
Yeah.
Because of we're doing something that they have never done or couldn't do, where we all look at actors in the opposite way. We can't do what they do, and we'll never be able to go on films like they do. So I think there's a great element of role reversal where they look up to us and we look up to them. And but yeah, they're just great people that are trying to make the club better. And what you don't see is off the pitch is they will help everyone. They'll help the training ground get better. They'll help the physio staff get better. Everybody that works for the club or wants the club to do better, they are trying to bring along the journey with them.
Because, I've listened to both the podcast with Ben Foster when you had him on your podcast, but also when you were on his. And I think it was maybe Ben or you, I'm not sure, but he mentioned that both Rob and Ryan told you or took the team into a meeting and told you guys that if you ever needed help with something outside of your career, they are there to help. And I think that must be so nice to have, because often you get told that you need to have something on the side when you're a footballer, so that you have something to do when you're finished. So how's that been? And maybe has they helped you with your podcast, or that just separate?
No, of course. Obviously, Ryan came on my podcast as well. So
yeah, that's great.
That in itself was huge for me, and even like that amount of effort that he had gone to make time to come on my podcast is just incredible. And hopefully, I can get Rob on soon. Rob, if you're listening. But yeah, no, they help everyone. Ollie Palmer has a clothing brand. Paul Mullins had a book come out. So anybody that does have an outside business or interest, they will help you as much as you want them to help. Like you have to ask for advice sometimes to get the help, and vice versa. They will offer help and you might not need the help at that time. So that's what's incredible about how they are as people, is that they were open enough to say, go and do stuff. When normally in football, it's like, Andy, you get told, concentrate on your football, don't have any distractions. Why are you busy on your days off? You should be resting. So sometimes you get told this in football and you're meant to be football, 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 and that's it. But they go against that and they say, no, you should have outside interests. You should be trying to make money and make a successful career for after football.
I find that so refreshing, because I found that this has been difficult for me as well. When you're in this, in this structure of football, you're being told what to do and what not to do. And then if you have some kind of interest outside that's maybe related to some exposure, and that way people know that you're doing something else, and then they worry about, is he focused on his football? Is this smart to do and whatever? But I try to do something that give me something outside. I try to build something that I can do after my career, because there's no club that want to pay my mortgage and my bills when I'm done playing. So
exactly,
I don't really see like a difference in me having a great chat like today here with you, learning from others, providing maybe content that can help others as well at the same time. So therefore, I want to, since I have you here, I want to ask you and some advice, because I have my podcast, I do my content, and how have you found that being to manage that when you're also a professional footballer? Because you can get hate for it and you can get praise for it.
Yeah, no, you could get both. Yeah, I've had both. I've had it if I make a mistake in a game, it should be, you should retire and stick to doing content and podcasts. You're not interested in football. And if you have a good game, they say it helps because it's therapy and you're talking to other people and you're learning. So you just have to take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, you're exactly the same. Like, we do content, we make content and we make shows, but it's this sort of interaction and talking to each other that you learn from, and we might both learn something from each other today. So is that making us better for on the pitch? Yes, it should be. Yeah. But also I find the stuff that we do is a great distraction away from how serious football is, Monday to Saturday, to win a game. And then when you manage to do these sort of opportunities and obviously work in the media, you get to speak to other people and you go, oh, I can relax now. I'm doing this. This is my job tomorrow. On Wednesday, my day off, I'm going to do 2 podcasts. I can relax. This is a different way of life. I don't have to concentrate on what's going on Saturday and who am I playing against. And you build yourself up instead of nervous energy. We get to relax almost and unwind and take that energy out on something else.
Yeah, for sure. And when you talk to other goalkeepers or other athletes as well, it's so sometimes it gives you some energy, and it's like comfort in knowing that they maybe also have the same thoughts and feelings as you have as a professional. And then if then others listen to the conversation, if it's a 14-year-old or it's a 25-year-old, they can also relate and find that, okay, the stuff that I'm feeling, the pressure, the anxiety of game day, of constantly being on top of your game, it's a part of it all. You just have to embrace it in some kind of way. So yeah, I love doing this. It's amazing.
Yeah, me too. That's the one thing that when I started out doing podcasts and content is that before that I was doing a little bit of coaching and I was only reaching 1 child or 2 child or like a group of 10 people. And I was like, my voice can tell you more and explain more and show you more. How can I make that from 10 children learning at a coaching session to hundreds of thousands of people or worldwide? I can help. You might be able to help someone in another country that you'd never be able to help before. So that's what we managed to do using our voice, is show that we can educate worldwide to, like you said, different age groups from 6 years old to 56 years old still playing. You can help somebody.
For sure. And try to create, even if you're an outfield player or a goalkeeper, try to make it as enjoyable as possible, even though you climb the ranks in your career and there's more at stake and whatnot. But try to provide people with content so they can learn and maybe they can have an even more enjoyable time doing goalkeeping, doing football or whatever sport than what maybe we've had, making our way through the game.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you just, sports should be fun, no matter what sport you're doing. Even if you're at the highest level or playing it as a hobby, it should be fun. You should still be able to play football and smile. It's the most important thing is that you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
So whether you're under pressure on a Saturday and it's a must-win game to win a league or fight a relegation, there should still be a small element in that you can find fun in. It should be enjoyable. You should be able to go, that was a great time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
For sure. And talking about enjoying stuff, so you can tell me what you're allowed to tell, but how was the trip to Vegas with the team?
Yeah, no, it was incredible. Obviously, our second year now, back-to-back Vegas.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was the staff at the club do to look after us. I mean, we go to the best pool party, to the best restaurant, to the best nightclub, and everything's sorted out. There's no queuing or anything like that, and you just are there to enjoy and have a good time and celebrate. It's amazing, and it's so nice. We work for a whole year, for 10 months as a team in a dressing room. We're fighting together, we're sweating together, we're crying together. And to go and relax for a few days, I say relax, we didn't get a lot of sleep. So,
tough.
It's tough. Yeah, really tough. But to do that together and obviously to speak to each other and build up to that point where you can just let some steam off and have a drink with your mate and put your arm around them and just sing a few songs and dance. It's amazing.
Really good. And you had also, like, after this season, there was some big characters that will not be joining you for next season. So maybe, have a final good time with them is probably also a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. We've lost a few lads have left this year, and they were great lads in the dressing room, great lads on the football pitch. But obviously, not everyone's time can continue at the club. And fortunate enough, I'm able to sign another contract. But yeah, for us to have a great send off for those lads and spend some really good quality time with them and show our appreciation to them is also just as special.
Amazing. So congratulations, you have signed a new contract.
I've just agreed it. So by the time this goes out, hopefully it should be done. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Congrats.
Good Thank stuff. You. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Delighted to get it sorted.
So how was like your journey as like a goalkeeper from the young age? You were in the Arsenal Academy?
Yep.
And then
I signed there at 10 years old and spent nearly 10 years there. Developed when I didn't think I really belonged there. I didn't feel like at the time. I knew it was like I always got told football at that age is like going to university or to college to learn as much as you can to try and get a job after it. So my mindset was always to develop as much as I could because there'll be a time, and the proof obviously with Arsenal, they don't really produce first team goalkeepers. It's very tough at the top of the Premier League to produce a goalkeeper from your own academy. And I know Arsenal have had a few like Vito Manoni, Wojciech Szczesny, Fabianski that have come through but signed at like 19, 20 and then worked their way through. But there hasn't really been since a goalkeeper called Stuart Taylor. He came through the academy and got all the way through to the first team and then ended up leaving after the Invincible season or the year before. Mm-hmm. So it's a tough place to learn, but it's the best place to learn, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I loved my time there. It's a great place to go to work and to learn your skills. And I got to the point when I signed professional that I was desperate to play first team games to find my level and find out if I could play professionally instead of just, like we said, staying at a big club and being a training goalie or a third or fourth choice goalkeeper. I was the opposite. I wanted to go and play from 18, 19 years old. I was desperate.
And when you were with the first team, like it was Jens Lehmann and Almunia who were in the union, and I've heard that they were not getting along.
Not at all. And never spoke.
And how is it to then be a part of that? And you see that, how is it in English? That dynamic between those two, and how should you relate to this whole situation as well?
For me, I was only like 18, 19 years old. So I found it really strange. Obviously, I hadn't experienced anything like this before. So one day I would go and speak to Jens, and then I would then turn around and Almunia was a bit, why are you speaking to him? And then the next day I'd go and speak to Almunia, and Jens would be like, why are you speaking to him? Like, so it was weird. I was caught in the middle. I was only a young pup. I didn't really realize the extent because I was so naive. But yeah, like they didn't speak a lot. And especially when Manuel got in the team and Jens wouldn't do his warm-ups and stuff like that. He wouldn't warm up the goalkeeper.
Really?
And yeah, but that's that's the German mentality of I'm strong, I'm the strongest, I want to play every game. That was his coping mechanism. Everybody is slightly different, which is tough. You can't always get the perfect personalities together in the same room. No. You don't have to. No. But they're both unbelievable goalkeepers. I learned a lot off of both of them. I learned a lot off of how Almunia trained every day. It was incredible. Had everything. One of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen, attribute-wise, everything. But then you look at Jens's mentality in a game. He came for more crosses than any other goalkeeper in the Premier League. He was so physically strong and demanding of himself that I learned a lot from him as well. So I was just lucky to be there.
It must have been amazing to be just part of that and seeing them train, and also see that. I guess even though you're part of that dynamic, and it's a bit weird when you're there, but I guess you also learn something from that as well. How you should how you should be as a human in all of this and stuff. So, but I've been fortunate. I've always been in a good goalkeeper group, so I haven't experienced that yet.
It's important to have a good goalkeeper unit. Yeah. I talk about that, the goalkeeping union, a lot, and it's so important that workday dynamic, that you can get along with a coach and 2-3 other goalkeepers, and you can all have the same banter, but you all know how each other feels as well. Yeah. If someone plays well, you're proud of them. If someone has a bad game, you're supportive of them. It's so important that you feel like the goalkeepers are sticking together.
Yeah, but then you also I think you have to be pretty mature as a person as well to behave like that and to be like that, within the group, because it's easy, I guess, with all the ego that can be involved, that you lose that part of your personality of being mature and treating the other guys with respect, and in terms of be happy for them if they play well, and then have empathy if it goes the other way around.
The other thing we're forgetting as well is the competition as well. Mm-hmm. You want to get better, which makes them better as well. So that competitive element in a goalkeeping training session is you pride yourself on saying, I've caught more than you today, or I've saved more than you today. But the next day they will come back stronger and go, I've done this, I've done that. And you're like, but that makes training better every day.
Yeah.
And I find that's one of the most important things about a training session, is that you can all laugh together and be nice to each other, but you still have to compete and make training better every day.
Yeah. And I think, that pushes the goalkeeper group, and it also benefits the team in the end, because then you will have a good goalkeeper standing in there and helping the team to win. And I think it's really important for players around to understand that if the team that you're a part of are winning games, even if you're playing amazing, if you're not playing, still your value goes up because you're part of a team that's winning. And if that goalkeeper that plays is doing an amazing job, but still then if there's other clubs that might need a goalkeeper, they can see, okay, he's not playing there, but he's really, really good. But maybe the second choice or third one is also good, and he can come to us and do a good job.
Yep.
So I think it's...
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, exactly. You have to add value to the group. And like you said, if the team is doing well, like me this season, we had a lad on loan, Arthur Okonkwo from Arsenal, and a fantastic goalkeeper. And he's 21, and I've loved helping him this season and helping him develop into a man, as in how he sees football and goalkeeping. And I've had a lot of chats with him on and off the field about how to conduct himself and about how his performances. And I feel like that this year I've taken on that role and I've absolutely loved it, and hopefully he has seen and benefited from that. So, but yeah, like you said, if the club's doing well, I'm at a better club. If we're going up another division, I'm at a better club.
Yeah.
Same with any other goalkeeper. The reason why you push each other is not just for yourself; it's to benefit everybody that's working with you.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes also, I acknowledge how lucky you are. Like I'm at the moment in IFK Gothenburg. It's a huge club in at least in Scandinavia. It's a big club. Has so many. So like the interest for the club is just. It's ridiculous. It's like 18, 19, 20,000, every weekend, every other weekend, of course. And the support I give for the club is crazy. And, they've had Elis Bishishari, a young goalkeeper. He's 18, who's been playing now. I've been injured for the last 5 weeks, but hopefully by the end of the month, I'm ready again and to fight for a spot. But, just helping him so that he feels the best way, that he's confident in himself and can help the team to win games, and try to, even though I've not been on the pitch with him, I just try to, help him out as much as I can, and so that he feel prepared for the weekend, because it also gives me such huge satisfaction to help someone else. And when I'm back, and if I'm selected or not selected, then I know if I'm selected, I've done a huge job to be able to play, and
exactly,
and vice versa. If he plays, he's done a good job because I've been pushing him. So
it's so important now that the easiest way to put it, is only one goalkeeper can play in each team. We have over 100 professional teams in England. There will be 600 professional goalkeepers in the country. So each team will have 2 or 3, maybe the Premier League will have 5 or 6. So only one person can play. So only 100 goalkeepers can play professional football in England, but there will be 600 professional goalkeepers. So it doesn't really work as a format, but that's where it shows the strength of character and the determination to push each other, help each other. It's just like you're saying about yourself, is you're putting yourself in the best position that if you do get called upon again to go back in the team, you've helped the team because you've made a young goalkeeper better.
Yep.
But if you don't get your place back, you've still put the club in a better situation and you've helped someone personally. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that you find in terms of playing and in terms of not playing, find your role and find what can I contribute with today in training so that I make my environment better. And Quinton Westberg that I had on earlier, he was big on this as well.
Yeah, but that's great for your own mental state as well, is that you're looking to make it better each day. If you can help somebody else or if you can make yourself better, that's self-improvement is the easiest way. But if you can also reflect and help somebody else, you're going to make every training session or every match better, and you're learning.
Yeah, for sure. So you've had a few moves in your career, different clubs. Yeah. And there's a process around that, signing for a new club, there's some talk to me about signing for a new club, the formalities and the first meeting with, a new dressing room, first training, you're being sized up by your teammates, even we like it or not, we always want to see what's the new guy about and what can he give to the team. And there's some time there that you need to be accepted as a person, but also as a professional. So tell me, how have you done that process with getting into new teams and new dressing rooms?
It gets easier as you get older. Definitely does. Because I think that once you've had more of a career or played more games, you command more respect when you walk into any dressing room anyway. So when I was young, trying to go into a dressing room and prove myself and show my personality as well as my ability is tough. It's always tough, especially when goalkeepers get questioned when they're younger a lot because people don't trust them as much as an experienced goalkeeper. But you can only get experience from playing or by going to different clubs and learning. So, I like going into new dressing rooms and showing what you have because it's like the first day of pre-season. No matter if you've been at a club for 1 year or for 10 years, the first day of pre-season, every year you go back in and you've got to show people how good you are, what you're made of, and your professionalism. I think that's so important to have that mentality of like, regardless if it's a new club or if it's the club that you was at the year before, that you go in the first day of pre-season and you're ready to start again and prove yourself all over again. I think that's the mentality that I've tried to always have, is that even if things aren't going for me or if it's not the club's not the right fit, I've still got a chance to prove myself.
Yeah. Good. And as you said, it's also getting easier with age because because first of all, you know what you're about as a professional, but you're also more secure in your own skin as well. So it gets easier for sure. And
one of the biggest things I found easy is once I had kids, just because I went home and coming home to be dad, I had to be consistent at home. I had to be always the same person every day. Your kids expect that. So then I could go back to football the next day and it would be fun again. And I could be a clown or stupid, or I could go in the gym for a long time. But as soon as you leave again and you go home, you have to be dad again and you have to be consistent. And so I found that helped me football wise, because my job was at home to be the best I can be as a person, and I could go to football to have fun and express myself.
Do you appreciate being a professional more now than you did before, or is it maybe at the same as it has always been?
I think at the start of my career, I absolutely loved it and thrived for it, because I didn't really know what it was and if I would make a career. And then in the middle part of my career, when I was playing a lot of games, I found it draining sometimes, because I was putting myself under so much pressure every day, every Saturday to do well, that it took when I got to my older stage of my career and had kids that I could then relax and think, no, football isn't just a job. It's not like the be all and end all. There is a life outside. So as I got older, I started to realize that football is still, like we said before on the podcast, it's meant to be fun. You're meant to still enjoy it, although that you want to do well and develop and progress. So I think I've gone through different stages throughout my career, but especially now as I'm entering the latter stages of my career, I love every day. I love going into football. I've never really for a long time, so I would say into my 20s, in my 30s, I've loved going in every day. I can't wait to go into training. It's the off season now, and I'm looking forward to going back to training already. And we've only had 2 weeks off because you know that you don't have long left, so you just got to make the most of it.
For sure, it's crazy. I feel like exactly the same. That I enjoy every day so much, and I feel so privileged that I'm allowed to to do this as a job. It's so amazing. But how have you had any big injuries? Because I have experienced that when I've suffered a couple of bad injuries and I've been out for a long time, it's been really, really tough, especially mental health wise, because it disrupts everything of your daily life. We are so, as footballers, you go to training, you practice, you have lunch, you go home, rest, and you do the same day after and prepare for the weekend. But suddenly all of that is washed away. with a serious injury. So have you had any, and how have you felt that to be?
Yeah. Again, it's going through my career, I've had, I would say, 3 serious injuries. I ruptured my thigh, my Wrexham muscle, your kicking muscle.
Hola.
But that took me a year to come back from. I tried to come back after, I think, 6 or 7 months, and it just wasn't right, and I had to then rest more. But that was the longest period in one gap that I was off. And yeah, mentally, that's so tough to go into football every day, but just go in the gym or just sit on a physio bed and get treatment it's mentally tough, because you're there and you're getting paid to play football, and you can't do that. And then all the questions that you get from other people is not about what you love doing. It's about, when are you going to be able to do it again? So when are you going to be fit? When can you run? When can you go in the gym? When can you play a football match again? It feels like it's always pressure and negative.
Yeah.
But as you get older, so then I ruptured my Wrexham. I came back from that, and it's been fine since. But I then had a double disc bulge in my back a few years after that, and I think that was probably because of I was putting so much away from my thigh, my kicking muscle, that I twisted my back and I was getting back problems. So then you start then thinking, oh no, is this going to be a case for my whole career? But I changed my diet, my professionalism, and then that helped my back long term, and I've had no problems since I was 29 with my back.
Okay.
And then a few years ago, I say a few years ago, 6 years ago, I ruptured my Achilles. It was the other serious injury.
Oh, Achilles.
Yeah.
At
right. So
what
then,
age?
but then 31.
Ooh.
So, but then I used that exactly. So it was a horrible injury, and I got told I would be back fit if I got back fit 9 to 12 months. But in my head, I was like, I'm 31. This could be the end. I'm not going to let it be. So my mentality changed, and I looked at dietary stuff, and I found the best surgeon, and I made sure that I got the best surgeon at the time that I could. And so I did so much more research into my own injury, and I learned so much more that I came back after 5 months. I played a competitive game in 5 months.
Wow.
But for 5 months, I swam 100 lengths every day. I was in the pool every day, regardless. Every day I went in the pool, because that was the best way of me recovering that muscle. And I was constantly trying to prove myself that I can defy what the specialist said, because I knew my own body, I knew what I'm capable of, and mentally it made me stronger. And then, so yes, I recovered, played a game after 5 months. I didn't get my place back in the team, but I played a couple of cup games for Blackpool that season. But it made me hungrier to show I've still got loads more to give. At 31, rupturing, people think you're going to retire, and it's not the case. You can prove yourself and keep going. And obviously now I'm 37, and I barely miss training. I think in the last 5 years, I've missed 3 or 4 days of training since rupturing my Achilles. So I love what I do, but I know my own body now. And if I'm feeling something, I know how to look after myself and to train or play with that injury.
I see. That's impressive with the Achilles, because just going quickly to my injury that I got now was that I did a few tendons related to the lower part of my calf.
Yep.
And some damage to the Achilles. And they were, before I had the scan, if you get an Achilles rupture, they squeeze your calf to see if the foot is moving, because normally if the Achilles is attached, then your lower part of your foot is moving. And they were really worried that I have torn it as well. So, but luckily not. And then they told me after that, if you would have done your Achilles, that could have been you, in terms of your career.
Yeah, no, obviously, when you get any kind of muscle injuries as a goalkeeper, we don't get any because we're sprinting. we only get them because we're kicking or jumping.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we have to just make sure that we look after ourselves the best we can. And I'm sure you're doing exactly the same now, that it's so important to be able to concentrate in the gym and look after yourself. And like I said earlier, as you get older, you learn to play with injuries, or you learn to look after your own body better.
Yes.
You understand your body better.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're younger, you don't do that. When you're 21, 22, if you get a sore groin, you just carry on until you pull your groin.
Yeah.
It's silly. But we could play now with a sore groin and just play through it, but cope with it, kick the ball differently, play differently to be able to manage.
Yeah.
But that's just experience.
Yeah, for sure. You had like a huge run in Sheffield with 8 clean sheets in a row, and that's some achievement. I'm wondering, how did you feel when you start getting the 4th and 5th, clean sheet? How did you feel like when you played? Did you feel invincible, or didn't you think about it?
Yeah, so I wasn't in the team at the time, right? So then we played a cup game away at Fulham in the FA Cup, and the manager pulled me before the game and went, "Oh, you're going to play tonight," like 1 hour 30 before kickoff. So I had no idea. He just went, "You're going to play tonight." So it was kind of, he took the pressure off, because he just came down the bus and went, "You're playing. Don't worry about it." So I played that game. We kept a clean sheet. And then the next game, he was like, "Because you kept a clean sheet and you did well, you're going to stay in." So I was like, "Okay, brilliant." So I took it one game at a time. And like you said, you get to the 4th and 5th game and you're like, "This is crazy. We haven't conceded yet." And I think we played. So we then won the next leg of the FA Cup game and we kept a clean sheet. So because we had got to the the quarter final of the FA Cup, the club took us away to Marbella for 3 days to party. So we played on a Tuesday night. We went away for 3 days, came back on a Saturday or a Sunday and played Monday night against Preston away. And we kept a clean sheet that night. And the lads had been out on the drink, had too many for 3 nights, but we still played on a Monday and kept a clean sheet again. So you then start thinking, this is 6 games or something in. Football's too easy. This is crazy. But I think we just had that great team spirit and camaraderie that we knew if we kept a clean sheet, we could win a game. So it just became like a mantra that we then just was like, well, just don't let anyone score. Don't let anyone score past us and we might win. Yeah. And we stuck at that. And obviously, 8 games in a row we got to. And on the 9th game, I conceded a cross.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted, that you always think, I don't want to let in a goal, but if a goal goes in, I want it to be a worldie.
Yes.
So, the classic, the winger drove down the line, corner of the 18-yard box. He whips across the face of the goal, and the striker runs across the front post, and you go to spread.
Reacting to that first post run.
Yeah, he missed the ball, and it went in the back post. I was devastated. But 8 games in a row was obviously amazing.
Yes,
obviously
still something different.
The only one problem with it, Anders, right, is at that same time, Edwin van der Sar for Man United at 37 kept 14 in a row.
14 in the Premier League?
Yeah. In all competitions, 14. Oh. So I thought I was doing incredible doing 8. He did 14.
14. Oh.
Incredible.
That's incredible, really.
Imagine 14 games, no goals.
Like here in Norway, it's half a season here in Norway, almost.
Half a season? In England, it's a quarter of a season.
Yeah, a quarter of a season. Jesus. That's a lot, but he was some goalkeeper though, Van der Sar.
And he had a pretty good defence in front of him as well.
What? Who was it then? Like, was it Vidic and Ferdinand who played?
Vidic, Ferdinand, yeah. Evra. Probably Neville or Valencia.
Yeah. Oh, that's really strong.
Yeah.
Mark, I just have it's been amazing to have you on. It's been really, really good. I just have a few last questions from I've had this a free community where goalkeepers can be a part of, and they can ask advice to each other and exchange different experiences so they can develop faster and better. So I have a few questions because I told them that you would be on, so they were on fire. Do you have any special routines in terms of nutrition, training, and recovery that you follow religiously, or are you pretty chilled about that stuff?
Yeah, well, I say I'm pretty chilled. When I said I had back problems at 29, so when I got to 30, I researched nutrition a lot and I became vegetarian. So I've been vegetarian for the last 7 years. But I found, because of I spoke to a back specialist at the time, and they said that red meat contains a lot of inflammation. So maybe just try and stop eating it or have less in your diet. So I was like, I'll go for it. And I'm quite an addictive personality. So if I try something and it works, I'll stick with it forever.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the one thing that I became vegetarian at like 30 years old. And then when I ruptured my Achilles, and I said to you, I started looking at nutrition and stuff. I came across collagen, the drink collagen, and I every day take collagen religiously, because I took it when I got injured. Not before I got injured, but I ruptured my Achilles. I started looking at the research and I started taking collagen supplements. So then, because I ruptured it, and then I came back so quickly and stronger, I was like, that must work. So that's my other thing that is stuck in my diet. I take collagen every day, like a little shot, a drink of shot. I take that every day.
Okay.
So yeah, apart from those things, I'm very relaxed on routines and stuff like that. But yeah, if I find something that works for me and it benefits my game, I will always stick with it.
Yeah. Nice. And then, you've made a mistake in a game. Maybe it's within the first 5 minutes and you still have 85 minutes plus added time to play. How do you deal with that within your mind to try to don't let that dictate the rest of your game?
Yeah, no. Well, we all make mistakes, don't we? As goalkeepers, we're all vilified for making mistakes. We're humans at the end of the day. But so one of my old goalkeeper coaches, this is really good for the young ones to listen, is that he said that if you make a mistake, imagine picking up a stone and putting it in your pocket. And he said at the end of the game, every stone you've picked up, how do you feel? And I said, heavy. I feel really heavy. I can't dive around anymore. I feel heavy. And he was like, imagine that's like the weight on you. He said, every time you make a mistake, you must take it out of your pocket and throw it away. And he said, so in training sessions and in games, he always said, pick up a stone, pretend, pick up a stone, now throw it away, get on with it. How do you feel at the end of the game? I went, I don't have any stones. I feel light. I still feel like I can play again. And he used that, and it worked for me when I was young. So I always stuck that one with me. And then as I got older, I think it's really important for goalkeepers to have a reset button. If we make a mistake, some goalkeepers like to touch the crossbar or touch the post or have a drink or say a word in their head. Mine, as I got older, was always, do my kids still call me dad? So if I made a mistake in a game, obviously it hurt me, my feelings, it affects your performance. But if I then reset and say, do my kids still call me dad? Do they care that I made a mistake? I'd always say, no, they will still call me dad. And I'll be like, well, what's the worst that can happen then? Get on with it. Let's just reset, go again. And that was, like, as I got older, the easiest way of doing it.
Great advice. Amazing. And what is your advice for keepers in their early teens? Or what is something that you would have told yourself during your early teens, now looking back?
That's such a hard one. It's a good one, though. The gym is more important than you think. It's very important to have the dynamic ability to, especially for jumping now. Agility is so important. So I would probably tell myself to work more on power and agility. But I've still managed to do okay with what I have. So, yeah, I would say that maybe that. And I'd also, where I got to 18 and I was desperate to play a game. I was desperate to go and experience first team football. I think depending on what level you come through at now, you can be a bit more relaxed and not put as much pressure on yourself. So I thought the best way for me to make it as a professional would be to leave Arsenal straight away and go and play games out on loan. But obviously there's been a lot of goalkeepers come through now that Emi Martinez is the best example. He went out on loan at 18. He didn't want to leave. He stayed at Arsenal as a training goalkeeper, effectively, as a third choice, didn't he, till 22? And then he had a couple of bad loan moves. He had Wolves, Barnsley and Reading, I think. And then he just became patient at Arsenal and he waited for his opportunity and he got a run of games at Arsenal. And then he won the FA Cup. And then he played for Argentina and won a World Cup. And he got obviously his move to Aston Villa in between because he was patient. It wasn't right for him when he went out on loan, and he didn't rush that period of trying to leave and force himself into someone's first team. He was patient. He stayed at Arsenal, although people say can't be a second choice or third choice goalkeeper. He was patient, and then he got his opportunity when he was ready.
Nice. And I think we probably have touched on this, but I ask it anyway. What is the most difficult challenge you'd had during your career, and how did you overcome it?
What the most difficult? Probably when I left Scotland, because I left Aberdeen. I hadn't really played a lot of games. I'd maybe only played 100 career games. And then me and my partner, Lucy, we wanted to come back down to England. And I had no reputation in England. So we moved back home to Lucy's parents, and my reputation wasn't good enough yet to get a club in England. I had to be, like as we're talking about patient, I was just waiting for my phone to ring from an agent, from a manager to give me an opportunity. So that I didn't sign till Blackpool until October. So yeah, I spent 5 months out of the game. And you're always thinking, how do I get back in? How do I get back in? So I started training with just a local team just to stay fit. And I got a goalie coach person that just would help me one-on-one just so I was ready for an opportunity. So yeah. And then obviously I got an opportunity to go on trial to Blackpool then when they were in the Championship, and lucky enough, the trial went well and they signed me. So that was the hardest thing, is being out of a club for so long, but being patient enough to say, no, I know I'm good enough and it will happen eventually. But when you spend so long out of a team, you think, I'm never getting back in, but you just have to have faith in your own ability.
Good. And what is your game day routines? How do you prepare for a game? And do you have any rituals or special things that help you maybe perform well?
Well, for anyone that's out at coffee, I drink a lot of coffee on a game day. So my diet's, like I said, obviously being vegetarian, but my diet's quite strange. I don't eat a lot. So even on a game day, I don't eat a lot. It's more of, I'll have one meal of scrambled egg on toast or something, but I'll have a coffee in the morning, I'll go for a walk, have another coffee, maybe have the scrambled egg and have another coffee. It's more of I like a quiet morning before a game. I feel like the best way that I keep goal is if I'm calm. So I know caffeine brings your the caffeine level up, but as a person, I like to stay quite level. Yeah. And I think whatever at home, if I'm at home with the kids, I'll play with the kids and I'll have a leisurely drive into football. And if I'm away at a away game in a hotel, I'll just go for a walk in the morning and just have a nice relaxing morning. Not do a lot really. I'm quite, like I said, I like to stay quite calm in goal, and I think that reflects in my performances.
And lastly, where do you see the Yours Mine Away podcast going in the future, and what sort of ambitions do you have with the podcast and the content part of Mark?
Yeah, it's similar to yourself. You just want to spread the message that goalkeepers are special. People don't understand us that don't play in goal. I want those people to be able to relate to us a little bit more, or find out more information about us being different.
Yeah.
We play a different sport. We don't play football, we play goalkeeping, but we're in a football team. So I just want people to celebrate us. I think you'll probably see it as well, that your relationship with some countries, Australia and America, their relationship with goalkeepers is they're celebrated. They're celebrated for being the unique one, the special one. But I think in Europe especially, that we're more seen as a villain. We're there to stop goals. People want to go to football to watch a game that has 4 goals each team.
Yeah.
We want to go as a goalkeeper to a game and it be 0-0, 0-0. So we're the villains. We're like in a play, we are the villains. We don't want football to be fun. So I think in Europe, we're seen as the villains and the press make us that. So I want us to be more celebrated, and much to yourself, like we've got great voices and we speak well about our passion for goalkeeping. And I just hope that even my podcast, the Yours Mine Away podcast, and the YouTube stuff that I do, people see that I love the job. I love speaking to goalkeepers. I love diving around. I love getting dirty. And I hope people can see that in me and they enjoy that aspect.
And they can find you. It's Yours Mine Away podcast. And is it the same? Same on YouTube?
All social media, yeah. Yours Mine Away podcast. It's on Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, everything, yeah.
Amazing. Mark, it's been a great chat. Thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And I wish you a good few weeks off before you get going into pre-season again. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Make sure when you're in the UK, you come on my podcast as well, by the way.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to.